Hi, everyone. So, today is really about the embodiment of expansion of wealth and of well being. I'm going to share with you how to expand essentially your identity and how to rewire your nervous system and your biochemistry and the biochemistry of your cells, essentially, so that you can explode your results in this upcoming year and raise your capacity to create and receive um, and hold more in your life, in your business, in your leadership, and of course, in your wealth. So, we're going to go over principles as well as processes. So, I'm going to give you the principle of why it's important to essentially embody who and what we want to be and receive, um, and kind of like the philosophy behind the importance of the nervous system in terms of how the nervous system is the grand master of the life you create. And then I'm going to also give you some very clear processes that you can take yourself through to repair and recalibrate your nervous system for more. In the end, this work is about making sure that your nervous system, your body, is an ally and a partner on your journey to growth and expansion rather than a saboteur, so that you can have that peaceful and joyful success and wealth in your life. Nervous system work essentially is all about rewiring. Actually, I should say nervous system expansion work, because sometimes nervous system work is about trauma and regulation. And we're going to talk quite a bit about safety today as one of the processes, and that's important. But when we're talking about nervous system expansion work, it's really about rewiring our nervous system to be a match to the results we desire and being able to normalize these results in our bodies, so that essentially your body doesn't get triggered, doesn't get overwhelmed by the expansion when it starts to show up. What I see with a lot of people is we start to create what we want, and something in us goes, oh shit. And a bunch of fears, a bunch of blocks, a bunch of wounding around worthiness, around fear of being enough start to show up. And then literally whatever momentum was starting to build, we start to resist change and we start to block it. And some of us are very aware, I just sabotaged this. And for some of us, it doesn't feel like it's coming from inside. It feels like something happened out there to sabotage our effort, but it's actually a materialization of something inside us that says it's not safe to be this big. It's not safe to be that expansive. It's not safe to have this much or to receive this much. So that's what we're going to work on today, just really understanding the process of the nervous system. And I'm going to give you 3 powerful steps that you absolutely need to have in place to rewire and recalibrate your nervous system for more. And essentially to make sure that you never get triggered, you never get overwhelmed by expansion and while you're in expansion. I want to start by doing a very brief intro for those of you who don't know me. Welcome. If you're looking for more ease and joy in your growth journey, you're in the right place. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa. Feel free to say hi to me. Feel free to let me know where you're watching this from. It's always nice to connect. And a little bit about me. I'm an absolute and total spiritual nerd. I'm a bookworm. I'm a dog mama. Professionally, for the last 18 plus years, it might be closer to 19 or 20 years at this point, I've worked as a psychotherapist, an expansion expert, and also a growth strategist for entrepreneurs and leaders. I teach my clients essentially how to rewire their nervous system, their lives, their bodies, and their businesses for more, and essentially for more of everything they desire, from wealth to well-being, without second guessing themselves, without stressing, without sabotaging themselves. For me, a highly successful and deeply nourishing life and business happens kind of like at the convergence with the marriage of emotional freedom and financial freedom. And so that's always the work I'm playing with. How do we rewire ourselves and our business to essentially have that sense of inner expansion as well as outer expansion, that emotional freedom with the financial freedom? And so that's what my work is all about. Before I dive deep into this training, I want to give you a very brief call to action. I'm going to go into more depth with what I'm offering at the end, but just in case you don't make it all the way to the end, I want to just put it out there. I offer new clients Wired for Wealth Intensive, and I usually offer a few of them every month at a significantly discounted 60% off rate. Essentially, you get 90 minutes one-on-one with me where we go really deep to figure out where are the nervous system blocks and wounds. And then I take you through my step-by-step process of exactly how to come out of contraction and bring yourself back into expansion. You also receive a guided practice of that process so you can use it over and over and guide yourself through it, and a cheat sheet that you can refer to in the future with all the steps written out. And there's only 2 left in January if that's something you're interested in terms of really starting the new year from a totally different sense of expansion, sense of being anchored in what you desire and what's possible for you. So if you want more information about that, just click the link in the description of this training. This is essentially for you if you really want to repair, recode, and expand your nervous system to feel really safe, easeful, playful, creating, receiving, and having more in your life and in your business in this upcoming year. All right, so let's get started. For us to essentially create sustainable and satisfying results in our life, in our business, we essentially have to prime ourselves, both our mind, but also our body, towards the expansion that we desire. We essentially have to shift this ingrained negativity bias and the nervous system inertia that we've been conditioned for, as well as change the biochemistry and the chemical makeup of our body. We're essentially shifting our internal weather system from gray and gloomy, maybe even stormy, to a sweet summer day filled with ease, filled with contentment, satisfaction, and infinite possibilities. Teaching your nervous system to come out of that armoring, that bracing, that overwhelm to a sense of safety, openness, receptivity, a sense of like optimistic expansion is essentially the foundation to anything good that you're ever going to create in your life and in your business. More, having more, being more, receiving more has to feel safe, and it has to feel normal to your body. Without that, that's when all the limiting beliefs, the blockages start to show up, and that's when we start to sabotage our growth, because growth essentially doesn't feel possible, it doesn't feel safe, it doesn't feel normal to us, and so we resist it. So the path to success always starts with shifting your identity, not only at the mental and mindset level and even the emotional level, but also at the biochemical level. And that tends to be what happens when you start to really work on your mental and your emotional. Over time, it will shift your biochemical level. What I'm talking about here is actually really starting to bring in the body, the nervous system, our biochemistry in the conversation from the get-go, so that we can really speed up the process of transformation. So when you're shifting yourself at the biochemical, at the neurocircuitry, at the cellular level, That's when you can really start to create and receive at a much higher level with a lot more ease. And it doesn't take years and years and years of work to do that. Like, I'm a psychotherapist. I know all about therapy. I know all about people who will be in therapy for 20 years. And in 20 years, they're still working on the same shit from their childhood, because the body is the last thing to sort of shift, and it's where everything is held. And so to just stay on the mental and emotional level without really shifting into the body really slows down the process. So you essentially can't just upgrade your thinking. You have to literally upgrade your body to become this new expanded version of you. And you have to do that all the way down to the chemical cocktail that your brain is releasing and flooding your body daily with. So once you've become this new expanded version of you, all the way down to your cells, that's when you're going to be able to show up, to create, to receive at that next level, and in a way that's really sustainable. If you don't have that, then your inner circuitry, your inner chemistry essentially is going to always bring you back down to your current level, because that's what feels safe, that's what's comfortable, um, and that's what your body is essentially used to. This is why mindset on its own, or even just working on limiting beliefs on its own, rarely creates lasting results. Money work is body work. If you've watched any of my videos, this is something I say almost every single time. So as you literally become a different person, you shift your identity, you shift your chemistry, you shift your personality. And automatically, as you're becoming this new person, like really to the root of who you are, automatically your lived experience starts to shift as well. You start to exponentially increase what you have the capacity to essentially create, receive, and hold. Here's the thing that we all want to understand when it comes to the role of our nervous system in creating joy and wealth in our life and in our business. Your nervous system is a conductor, it is the command center of everything you think, feel, do, and experience. Everything that is happening to you, everything you're thinking and feeling is literally processed and actualized through your nervous system. And your nervous system is like this network of billions of neurons. It's so big, there's so many neurons that you could literally wrap the earth around with it 4 times or 5 times over. Just think about how much, how big, how many neurons are in your nervous system. So your nervous system is like the command center of your entire lived experience, inner and outer. And so when you start to shift the nervous system, everything shifts. How you see yourself, how you see life, how you experience yourself, how you experience life, what's possible shift. And you start to move away and out of what is and your current reality to living and experiencing the possibility, the potential of you and of your life. So your nervous system is the grandmaster. It's always defining your experience, and including it also defines your upper limit. It defines how much you get to receive and have tangibly, financially in your life, and also like stuff, right? Like how much love, the kind of relationship, the kind of support, the kind of money, the kind of home, the kind of car, like all of that. But it also defines how much ease and enjoyment, or how much struggle and effort you have to experience on your way to achieving what you want. So the nervous system is essentially the grandmaster of both wealth and well-being, and they live together, the quantity and the quality. Your nervous system also tends to define the biochemistry, essentially the inner weather of your body and your mind. Like whether or not your life, your experience of yourself feels like gray, or whether it feels sunny. It also defines how your brain views and perceives and experiences the world and what is possible for you. So that's like the crazy shit here. Like when you think something's not possible for me, that's not actually reality. That's your perception. There's all sorts of people who have accomplished things that for most of us would have seemed impossible. And partially because they rewired themselves to essentially really widen their perspective on what is possible. So that's what we're doing here is we're rewiring the nervous system so that we can have an experience of ourselves and of our life that is like an easy breezy warm summer day. Now I'm going to give you one last bit about the nervous system. The nervous system also affects your DNA, and it affects all the dormant genes that are in you. So your nervous system defines essentially what traits you get to have and experience. Did you know that essentially like 95% or more of our DNA is dormant? There's like this treasure trove of possibility within us that we don't have access to, gifts, abilities, perspectives. Um, and a lot of these dormant DNA, these dormant strains, are things that we actually need to succeed sustainably in our life, like confidence and the ability to speak in public, and the ability to feel safe being visible, and the ability to express ourselves from a place of authority and authenticity. Like all of those have DNAs, the ability to be extremely resilient in the face of stress. When you start to work on shifting the biochemistry of your body by shifting your nervous system, literally all these dormant cells, these dormant DNA strain that you need to succeed start to come on board. They start to be activated, essentially. So when we are shifting the biochemistry of our body and our neural network in our brain and in our nervous system, that's when you're going to be able to actually become a new version of you, literally, because you're activating gifts and abilities within yourself that you didn't even know you had. And that makes success become significantly more easeful. And it allows you to actualize your potential with a lot more speed and a lot less effort, a lot less struggle, which is essentially what we're working ourselves towards here. And what's fun about this is that once you have a gene that's been activated, it can be passed down to future generation, and it can also be activated in people just by them being in our presence through those mirror neurons. So when you start to have an ability or a gift or a piece of your personality that is activated within you, your presence become a healing balm, and people around you start to see what's possible. If it's possible for you, it's possible for them, and their nervous system starts to literally become in resonance with your nervous system, and these abilities start to become activated and start to show up within themselves as well. So we're doing this work to absolutely shift ourselves and our reality, our future, but we're also doing it for the future of humanity. We're doing it for the world. So you can never create, receive, or hold more than you feel comfortable, than you feel safe, than you feel worthy or ready to, which is why increasing the capacity of the nervous system, priming the nervous system for the results you want, and normalizing that in your body is absolutely fundamental. And when you do that, when you normalize what you desire in your body ahead of time, you're essentially like setting yourself up for success, because a lot of the resistance, a lot of the doubt, a lot of the overwhelm that comes with not feeling a match, that comes with not feeling safe, not feeling comfortable or worthy or ready to expand and to hold that expansion, a lot of that resistance, a lot of that doubt, a lot of that overwhelm and sabotage starts to actually melt away because you have primed yourself for what you want. So now this is the intro. Now I'm going to take you through 3 simple keys to rewiring your nervous system, your brain, your biochemistry, and priming yourself to become the most powerful and peaceful force in your life and in your business, and being able, having the capacity to receive and hold at that next level, at a much higher level. So the first thing I want to talk about, the first process, the first practice, is you want to always bring yourself back to the present moment and reclaim safety over and over. 99% of the time, anxiety, overwhelm, a sense that something is wrong, either inside us or in our life, comes from our mind, either traveling to the past or traveling to the future. Almost all the time, in this very moment, we are okay and safe. And so the overwhelm, the doubt, the dread, all of that comes from not being anchored in the moment. Nothing else is possible in your well-being, in your wealth, in the creation and the receiving of it, if you don't feel safe first. So teaching the nervous system and the brain to recognize and realize over and over and over that right now, all is well and I am safe, is essentially the first step to opening yourself to receive. You can't bring yourself out of that sense of contraction, out of harming, bracing, doubt, let alone expansion, if you don't feel safe. So all the things, all the automatic sabotaging behaviors, and they sabotage our creation, but they also sabotage our experience of being alive. All of that, essentially breaking that, starts to come with training the brain, training the nervous system, that to come back to the present moment and to realize in the moment that we're safe. And you do that over and over, and it's like, oh, I'm safe. I'm still safe. I'm still safe. I'm still safe. And suddenly it's like you are starting to shift your biochemistry from anxious and something's wrong and I am not safe and I don't belong here, to I am here and I am safe. And if I am safe, then maybe it's safe to be me, and maybe it's safe to want what I want, and maybe it's safe to go after what I want. So the first step is always to become aware of signs of contraction in the body, signs that something in you doesn't feel safe, like racing thoughts, becoming short of breath, heaviness and drain, feeling overwhelmed, a pit in the stomach, a tightness in the chest or in the throat. Like everyone's a little different, right? Like everyone's a little different in how a sense of not feeling safe shows up in your body. So your first step, your first job is to start to notice, how does your body let you know that something in you doesn't feel safe right now? Doesn't feel safe being you, doesn't feel safe being here, doesn't feel safe wanting what you want, and definitely doesn't feel safe going after what you want. And so you start to notice the contraction and notice how you're hiding, how you're feeling small, how you're bracing and shutting yourself off from life. And you stop. When you notice the contraction, you stop. You take a sacred pause to come back home to right now, to come back home to right here, to come back home to you. And you ask yourself, in this moment, am I actually okay? In this moment, am I actually safe? The answer will be yes, 99% of the time. And so once you ask that question, you're literally interrupting the brain in that fight, flight, freeze that it's in. You're interrupting the nervous system from that fight, flight, freeze. And you're bringing it back to the truth of your reality, which is that right in this moment, I am okay, I am safe. And so you want to breathe in that yes, slowly and deeply for a minute. You want to let the senses and the knowing of your current safety. You want to let your body really feel, I am safe. That is the truth. That is the reality. You want to let that knowing flow through your whole body. You know, feeling the ground underneath you, feeling the oxygen, the gravity all around you, essentially anchoring in the knowing, in this physical, embodied sense that you are supported, that you are safe right now. And you essentially do this, like taking in that yes, taking in that sense of safety. You do this until your mind starts to calm, your breathing starts to slow and deepen, and your body starts to relax and open. When you do this over and over, you're essentially interrupting that habit of borrowing the problems of the past or of a potential future and coming back to safety. You're essentially starting to interrupt what I mentioned earlier in this training, which is that nervous system inertia and that negativity bias that we've been conditioned for. We are conditioned as human beings to expect the worst because that's what's kept us safe and helped us survive as a species. It's hardwired within us to pay attention, to remember, to focus on, to look for the bad, the threat. And whenever you do this, you're literally interrupting this. You're interrupting a false reality. And you're bringing it back, you're bringing yourself back and rewiring yourself for a reality of safety and support. So when you do this, you're literally starting to rewire your whole self, including your biochemistry, for a paradigm, a new paradigm of all is well, nothing to worry about, no problem to fix, nothing broken, no catastrophe to brace or armor against. This is a new paradigm of ease, of support, of well-being. And that's where we start. So safety, interrupting the negativity bias, interrupting the borrowing problems and looking for problems in the past and future, and bringing yourself back to a paradigm of all is well, and I am safe here. I'm safe being me. I'm safe being here. I'm safe wanting what I want. And as a ripple, I'm safe getting what I want, going after and receiving what I want. So that's the first one. Number two, once you have regulated the nervous system, by the way, step one is regulation work. Once you have regulated the nervous system and you've essentially primed yourself for safety, then you want to start entangling and rewiring all the conditioning, all the wounding of the past that are essentially still defining how you see yourself, how you show up, how you experience life in the present. So once you're anchored and rooted in safety, and your body is back into a place of openness, of receptivity, of relaxation, that's actually when it's safe to start to go back and to start to see, okay, where am I still blocked? Where are past beliefs, past wounds, past conditioning still haunting me and affecting me today that needs to be rewired? I call this process of going back to essentially uncover the block and bringing your whole body out of contraction back into expansion. I call that providing all your wounded parts with the missing experience, providing yourself the missing experience. For us to feel whole, worthy, able, capable, we have to essentially start to go back and discover what is it that we needed and missed out on in our childhood that has essentially conditioned our way of how we look at life and how we experience life. Like, what were we missing that we need to actually be able to be at peace, to be confident, and to move through life from absolute trust, from absolute calm and certainty? This missing experience is very unique for each of us, and there's many of them. But I find that there's 5 core missing experiences that come back over and over and over when I work with clients. And so when I'm working with clients, I'm obviously customizing this process to their unique experience. But these 5 core missing experiences come back over and over. And if you work even just on that, just on providing all the young, wounded, scared parts of you with these 5 core experiences, you will shift yourself. You will transmute yourself from the inside out. So what are these 5 core missing experiences? Excuse me. The first one is unconditional permission to exist and be yourself exactly as you are. Every single one of us needs and needed the right to feel and be ourselves exactly as we are. That's the first one. So you want to start noticing whenever you are in resistance to your own experience. Essentially, when you're in resistance to your own experience, to feeling sad, to feeling anxious, to whatever, you're basically saying, I don't get to exist as me. It's not okay to be me. As long as there's any remnants inside you of it's not okay to be me, you can't succeed. Because you literally can't succeed as you, because it's not okay to be you. So that's the first one. The first missing experience is unconditional permission to exist, feel, be exactly as you are. The second missing experience is unconditional love. Essentially knowing that you're going to be loved no matter what. That you are loved no matter what you're feeling, being, doing, thinking, and you're loved exactly as you are. You're loved no matter what, and you're loved exactly as you are. Every single one of us needs to feel unconditionally loved, to feel safe being ourselves, to feel safe being here, to feel safe wanting what we want, and to feel safe going after and receiving and creating what we want. The third missing experience that comes up over and over is unconditional support. Essentially knowing that we have our own back and that no matter what happens, we're going to be supported and we're never going to have to go at it alone. All of us growing up needed to know that we were not alone. That sense of not feeling alone, that sense of feeling like someone is on our side. And that no matter what life throws at us, we're going to be supported. We're going to have help. That sense of unconditional support really anchors that sense of safety that is so needed for success, for being able to get and receive at that next level. The next missing experience is praise or sometimes I call it unconditional acknowledgement and pride. Essentially, no matter the outcome, no matter what we do, no matter who we are, we know that we are acknowledged, that we are praised, that we matter, that we are valued. Like you can think of kids how like, mama, look what I made, look what I did. Look, like there's something inside us that wants to know that we can be proud of who we are. That a parent, something bigger than ourselves, is proud of us no matter what. So that unconditional acknowledgement, that unconditional praise, that sense that we are valued and we matter no matter what, is the fourth missing experience. And it's really hard to succeed. It's really hard to feel worthy and deserving of what you want and what you desire without it. And so it's especially important in business and in creating wealth because it has a lot in terms of feeling like being able to receive and to hold more. And then the last missing experience I call unconditional trust. Essentially knowing that no matter what is going on, even in the short term, no matter what it may seem like in any point in time, in the end, it is all working for me. It's all working out for us. So this is a final piece, essentially a sense that it's a deeper level of support, almost a sense that we are supported by life, that life is on our side, that no matter what, even if we're struggling right now, there is intelligence and it's going to work out. It's essentially re-stepping into a sense of faith and a sense of hope that we had as children. Like as children, every single one of us felt like our lives was gonna work. Our life is gonna work out for us. Our life was gonna be amazing. Like there's a sort of optimism, a sort of trust in life and in ourselves that we have as children that over time we lose. And so that missing experience we reclaim so that we can walk the journey boldly and openly and essentially walk in faith and keep taking steps, even if on the short term we're not seeing a whole lot of results. So the sense of like trust, of feeling seen, safe, supported by something bigger than ourselves, of being able to trust the journey, even if the journey feels a little bumpy right now. This allows our body, our nervous system, our mind to start to settle and relax and open at yet even another deeper level. So we're back to safety. Like we're anchoring safety at deeper and deeper level. Once you provide yourself with these key missing experiences, and by the way, in the Wired for Wealth Intensive that I brought up at the beginning of the journey, the process I take you through, which is my hatching process, it's a proprietary, proven process of bringing everything in you that feels not enough, not safe, not worthy, essentially in contraction, bringing every piece, every part of yourself back into a sense of relaxed, open, receptive, and expanded. So in that Wired for Wealth Intensive, I literally take you through the process of providing yourself with these 5 missing experience, exactly how you do that, exactly how to do that. And then I give you a recorded practice of me walking you through that process so that you can use it over and over. So if this makes sense to you, then just click the link in the description and just check it out. You're going to get a lot more details of what happens on that call. And it's 60% off, and there's only 2 left in January. So once you provide yourself with these key missing experiences, something in you starts to open like a flower blooming. Something in you starts to feel deserving of the goodness of life. Something in you starts to feel safe being you, being here, daring to go after what you want, and starts to feel safe expressing yourself at that level that it's going to take for you to create what you want and to receive more. In that openness, we become able to essentially access our own wisdom, our own potential, and to really move from that place of flow and trust in ourselves and in life. That's where the well-being start to show up along with the wealth, because it's not just about how much we get to have or make. It's about how much we get to keep, and it's about how much joy and ease and freedom we get to experience in the process of creating and receiving it. And for me, I know money sells, right? So I talk a lot about money. But for me, the well being, the ease, the freedom, the joy, the sustainability, the simplicity, the feeling really nourished and satisfied by your life and by what you're creating, that's actually significantly more important to me than any actual amount in your bank account. And they go together. If you hate your life, you're going to block growth. If you hate your business, if it feels hard, if it doesn't feel nourishing, you're going to sabotage the process anyways. So as we're providing ourselves these 5 core missing experiences, and we're starting to really anchor into this openness, this expansion, this sense of safety, this sense of rightness, like it's right for me to be here, it's right for me to want what I want, then we essentially start to shift our reality, our paradigm, our whole inner chemistry from what was and what is to what is possible. And so as we start to provide that missing experience, we are literally transforming who we are being. And that starts to ripple across every aspect of yourself, from the way you think, to the way you feel, to the way you experience life, to how you walk and move and interact and show up in the world, to the chemistry and the hormones that your brain is flooding through your body. You're essentially shifting that internal biochemistry from an experiential weather, from that winter to that summer. It starts to really impact how you show up, and it starts to impact how people see you, how they receive you. That magnetism that everybody talks about, that, like magnetic marketing and people wanting to work with you, that is that. It's literally providing yourself all that missing experience so that you're literally becoming a new person, and you're open and you're available and you're excited to be alive. And that excitement, that expansion, people sense, people feel, and they want it. They want to be around you. They want it for themselves, so they want to work with you. And it shifts what you expect, what you decide is possible, and what you dare to expect to go after and to receive. So providing yourself with all these missing experiences from your childhood, essentially it heals your past. It releases all these old limited identities that no longer serve you. And it really allows you to start to step into being the person you were born to be, the original design of you, and to start to be able to create, to live, and to receive from that place. So that's number 2. First step was really working on coming back to the present and realizing, recognizing, anchoring safety. Number 2 is providing these 5 core missing experiences. And the third one is, once you feel safe being you and being here, once your nervous system has been primed for a new elevated identity and you have all these missing pieces back, essentially, then that's when the third step is essentially shifting your receiving paradigm. And I've talked a little bit about this already, but essentially shifting your nervous system to be able to not only increase the quantity of what you can create, receive, and hold, but also the quality of your receivership. So it's about the well being as well as the wealth. It's about the ability to let life, let business, let receiving be really easeful, really peaceful, really joyful, and to feel deeply nourishing rather than creating and receiving feeling stressful, feeling like hard work. And so, to be able to do that, we must rewire our nervous system and our brain to become comfortable with the good, to become normalized to well being, to not bypass pleasant experiences, and to really allow ourselves to take them in, to savor them, to steep in them, to celebrate the good, so that essentially it can start to feel really normal, really natural in our body. As I brought up earlier, our nervous system expects things to be hard. Our nervous system is essentially hardwired to look for the bad, to expect things to not go well. We are been conditioned to watch for, to focus on what is wrong, what is not working. And we've been conditioned to do that, and for good reasons, right? Like I like to tell my clients, none of our ancestors were the people who smelled the flowers and meditated in on big stones and trusted that there was nothing bad in the cave and just walked in from place of trust. Like literally our cavemen ancestors who trusted life, who enjoyed life, who were relaxed, open, they all got eaten, they all got killed. And so we have thousands and thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of years of wiring for the bad. And that is so ingrained in us, it is so anchored in us that most of us actually feel weary. We feel distrustful when things are too simple, too easeful, too sweet, or enjoyable. Like something in us either checks and dismisses it, moves on, which is why, time flies when you're having fun, because we're literally like just moving through it and not paying attention to it. So either something in us actually dismisses the good, the well-being, or something in us feels so uncomfortable with it, so doesn't trust it, and starts to expect the other shoe to drop. It literally feels too good to be true. And so what we're doing here at this next level of rewiring and shifting our biochemistry is we're literally reteaching ourselves that the good is safe, that well-being, being open, being relaxed, letting things be easy is not too good to be true, and it is not a risk to our survival. This essentially not trusting the good also happens at the level of your biochemistry and your cells. So, for example, if your whole life your cells have been flooded by a chemical cocktail that arises from doubt, from struggle, from not feeling enough, from anxiety, from I have to work hard and be busy to make things happen, then the moment you start to slow down, the moment you start to lean back, enjoy, relax, receive, be satisfied, something in you starts to feel uncomfortable because it's not getting its daily cocktail. Your cells are literally experiencing a withdrawal from the old way of being, from the old chemical. They're resisting joy. They're literally wanting the stuff they're used to. I'm going to give you a funny example. So I just came back maybe a week ago or so, 10 days ago, from a trip to Florida. Every Christmas, I live in Colorado where winter is cold. And so every Christmas, I go home to South Florida to spend a tropical warm Christmas. And so when I leave to go on my trip, I'm usually dressed for the cold, like the shoes, maybe long underwear, cat, scarf, turtleneck, sweater, jacket, all of that. And so there's always this little bit of time, like I'm used to the cold, I'm dressed for the cold, and I land in South Florida and it's humid and hot. And I'm like, oh, this does not feel good. Like you walk out of the plane and you're hit by this wave of muggy hotness. And I'm dressed for winter. And so there's always this little bit of like, oh man, why am I doing this? Why did I come here? This does not feel good. Like essentially my body is calibrated for winter. And so it takes a transition time. It takes a moment for my body to acclimate both internally and externally to the warm weather and to start to love it. This is what is happening in your cells. Your biochemistry is winter. And you take these cells and you suddenly say, nope, summer. And they're going to say, fuck that shit. This doesn't feel good. I'm uncomfortable. I'm sweating. I'm itching. Like, where's the cool? Show me the cool. I want to go back to the gray. And so we have to really stay with the work long enough that our cells start to shed all the extra clothes we have on, start to acclimate, start to essentially shift and let go of all these extra layers that are no longer necessary. And suddenly get used to a new chemical cocktail, one of ease, one of rest, one that says you get to receive without having to work hard for it. You get to receive without having to sacrifice yourself for it. You get to keep what you make. It gets to be simple. It gets to be joyful. It gets to be easy. We are not wired for that. Our chemistry is a chemistry of struggle. It's a chemistry of survival. And it takes a while to acclimatize, to normalize, to come back to an original design and to a sense of feeling natural and normal with ease and joy, with well-being, and to think of wealth and well-being as connected. So through this work, you are essentially unwinding thousands and thousands of layers and years of conditioning for struggle and survival. And you're reteaching your whole system to trust, to welcome, to celebrate, to expect ease, positivity, and feeling deeply nourished in your life. This is like dyeing fabric. Like if you look at like in India or places where they're dyeing fabric, they'll take cloth and it's white or beige or something like that. And they'll dunk it in like some kind of dye, let's say some indigo or something. And they'll bring it out and they'll dry it out. And at first it's light blue. Then they'll dunk it again. And then it gets a little darker and a little darker and a little darker. Literally, At some point, you dunk this cloth enough in the dye and you change the fabric, the fundamental fabric of the cloth. It doesn't matter how much you wash it, that color never comes out. This is what we're doing when we are steeping and savoring ourselves in positive experience. We are changing the fabric of who we are. Literally all the way to our cells, all the way to our neurocircuitry. And by doing that, we are changing our outlook, our personality, our lived experience. So, what's the process here? How do you do this? You want to actively look for beauty. So, the first step is always we're back to safety, right? Like coming yourself back into safety. You can't look for beauty if you're not don't feel safe. So, coming back to safety, providing these missing experience, feeling like it's okay to be you, like you are unconditionally loved, you are unconditionally supported, you can be proud of who you are, and you matter exactly as you are. And whatever's going on, it's working for you. It's all working out in the end, and you can trust your process and you can trust your life. You've provided these missing experiences. That next step, the step 3 that we're talking about, is literally start to actively move against the conditioning, actively look for beauty, actively celebrate things when they go well, rather than being like, okay, done, great. Like, no, take a moment to celebrate yourself for your accomplishment, to really savor the sense of something working for you. So, steeping yourself in feelings of love, of gratitude, of ease and well being, appreciating acts of kindness that you see around. So, if somebody you're driving and somebody actually slows down to let you pass, don't just do this and move on with your life. Because I guarantee you, if that person had not let you through, you'd be thinking about how much of an asshole they are for the next hour. But when somebody lets you through, our automatic reaction, the way our brain is wired, is to say thank you and to move on and not think about them. That's where you start to shift that. Oh, wow, this person let me through. They are good people. I am supported by life. Look at how we're all driving on the highway, and most of us are going to make it home alive. Really start to train your brain to look for the good and to steep and savor the feelings of that goodness. Basking in the experience of feeling supported, feeling seen, of luck, feeling lucky, of serendipity. Allowing yourself to really slow down and enjoy simple moments. Start to learn the taste of satisfaction, truly taking in your wins and really celebrating them on the inside, feeling them. So when you look for the good and you recalibrate your nervous system to expect the good, and you start to literally normalize and get comfortable in your body and here with feeling good, you're essentially rewiring yourself for trust, for safety, for allowing positive experiences to be your norm. And you're really rewiring your brain to focus there. So you recode your nervous system, your brain, and your biochemistry by truly allowing yourself to really relax in these positive feelings and experiences, to truly let them in, to truly feel them, to indulge in them and really savor them for as long as possible. And you do that until you start to feel safe and comfortable with them, and they start to feel natural and normal to you. Just like the way you're going to surrender to a warm bath when there's no longer resistance, when there's no longer a sense of like, okay, great, but what's next? And you're like, no, this is what's next. this is what's real. And you can really feel comfortable and natural in the good, then that's when you know that all your cells have let go of all those layers of winter conditioning, and they're in flip-flops, and they're in like your super comfortable summer dress, and they're laying on the beach enjoying. They've totally acclimatized themselves back to the original design within you that is of ease and joy and nourished. So that's number 3. Let yourself feel the joy. Let yourself look for and feel the peace, the delight, the awe, the gratitude, the love and support that is always already here. And let yourself feel that deeply in your body until you start to imprint a new paradigm, a new way of being, of living in your circuitry, in your biochemistry, in your identity. And so by doing that, you're teaching your whole being that your life, your work, your journey is supposed to feel good, and it gets to feel good, and it gets to be easeful and enjoyable and freeing and in flow and deeply nourishing. Once your nervous system, your biochemistry, your brain, once everything is starting, is essentially in the process of being really rewired and anchored in expansion and well-being, and you've primed yourself for easeful, joyful, and peaceful expansion, then your nervous system will become your ally and your partner on your journey to success rather than a saboteur. Your nervous system will feel safe with you receiving more and receiving it from a place of ease. And that's what we're working for. Your identity will shift, and achieving, receiving, and holding on to what you desire, to the results you want, will become significantly simpler and sweeter. You won't feel like you have to work really hard for it. You won't feel like you have to sacrifice yourself or what matters most to get the results you want, because your identity will be an identity of expansion and flow, where you expect for things to go well and for things to be easeful. Remember, your nervous system is the grand master, the grand command center of your life. You are the most powerful force in your life and in your business. And nervous system expansion work is essentially the most powerful process I know to help you truly embody that fact, embody both wealth and well-being. For me, this is the inner work that makes all the work you do out there finally work. And I would love to share it with you. So that's the end of this training. I'm going to just invite you again. If this is the year that you are ready to expand out of all these contraction and actually repair, recalibrate your nervous system, your biochemistry, your identity, so that you can achieve what you want from a place of ease and enjoyment, and you can grow and receive like the results you want from a place of consistency and simplicity, then I would love to work with you. And I would love to share this process, this work with you. My aim here would be to help you to anchor and live in expansion and to succeed massively in life, in love, in work, in wealth, in a way that really truly delights and nourishes all of you, from your soul, from your heart, to your body, so that it feels good, all the way to your bank account. And to start doing that, to start this new year anchored in regulation and in expansion, then I'm offering people who are new to me my Wired for Wealth Intensive at 60% off. It's essentially $159. You get a 90-minute one-on-one deep dive session with me where we discover like what are all the wounds and blocks that have been holding you back, that have been constricting your growth and your receivership. And then I take you through my step-by-step process, my proprietary protocol, which I call hatching, of providing these missing experience. And I show you exactly how to bring yourself out of contraction, back in regulation and expansion, and how to unlock the power of your nervous system, essentially, so that you can anchor yourself, your identity in wealth, well-being, expansion. And then after the session, I send you actually a guided recording of this practice so that you can use it over and over on your own. And I also send you a cheat sheet of the step by all the different steps so that you can refer to them at any point in the future. If after all of that, you and I decide that we're a good fit and we want to keep working together and do some more work and customize the process even more to your circumstance, then I will give you a couple different options to fit your needs and fit your budget. I have 2 of these sessions left at that 60% discount. If you want to find out more details about it, then just click the link in the description of this video. I so look forward to showing you how to rewire yourself and your business for peaceful growth, consistent results, easeful receiving, and joyful wealth. In the end, that's what it matters. It's about joy, it's about ease, it's about consistency and peace. And finally, I'm going to leave you with this. And this is essentially what this entire training has been about. Like, I want you to remember that everything you desire is coded within you. It's coded in that original design. Everything you need to succeed is within you. You are the most powerful and peaceful force in your life, and your nervous system is the gateway. It's the path to heal your past, and it's the key to unlocking your potential and the future that is possible for you. I would love to be your guide on that journey if you so feel called. Sending you lots of love for the rest of this week, and talk to you soon. Bye.